Alright, before I even start talking about what I'm going to talk about, I'm just going to preface the video by saying the 500 sub special is coming. I've been working on it, but sadly the old version that I had ready, the files got corrupted, so I have to start over. So it's going to take a little bit longer than I had wanted to actually get it out to you guys and show you just exactly what I've been up to. But with that out of the way, let's get into the main part of the video, which is my reflection on Rogue and just my overall experiences in the game, which, you know, I've played Rogue for over a year now and a lot has changed. I remember back when Gaia was still a very, very new place and nobody really knew anything. Everything was all very new, you know, it was mostly supers and base classes. If you saw an ultra, you're like, oh shit, how'd you get it? You know, everything was an unknown, and the updates, you know, they were pretty constant, and new content was being churned out as much as it could be. But the reason I'm making a video like this is I feel that Rogue as it is now, it's still a pretty fun game, but I feel like it's turned from more of a little bit of exploration, fighting people to, you know, claim land, prove your worth, whatever you want to fight for, into more of a glorified fighting arena in some areas. And I still have a lot of love for the game because I've had a lot of good times here and I've met a lot of good people along the way. I've also met some bad people, but that's for a different time. Looking back on Rogue, I remember getting my first super, which was Necro, and the only reason I went Necro instead of CK at the time is, one, I had no clue CK even existed because Tundra was like still this big scary place that nobody really went into unless you were brave as all hell. But I remember I wanted to go Necro because I saw in a video that this guy summoned like 50 Shriekers, and I was like, oh, I want to do that because it seems so interesting. And, you know, I got to Super. I never made it to Ultra, and then I swapped to Illusionist because I wanted to just observe people and get called out for ESP on a daily basis. But, you know, that's just how it goes. K came out. K was pretty fun. Personally, I like old K better than new K in terms of the map. I think the old crypt was honestly dope. It was dangerous, but it was rewarding. It was a genuine challenge to go in there unless you had Necros farming it for you. But like, I remember me and a friend, it was me, him, and a Sigil, and we would just go in and do the dungeon. Now, we died a few times, but it was a blast doing that. Sadly, I never got to really do any conquest in Old K. I didn't have any Ubers that I really enjoyed because Abomination wasn't out then. But it was still a lot of fun to go walk around and explore some of the places. I thought they were very cool, very fulfilling. But looking at K as it is now, I think there's a lot of good and I think there's a lot of bad with it. I enjoy fighting people. It's just a ton of fun for me. I can't say I don't enjoy the fighting at all because it's a blast for me playing as Abomination and killing people. It's just it can get a little disheartening sometimes when there's so many other classes that are just better. They do more damage faster. They can go places faster than you can. They have better climb, better mobility, just better everything overall built into their class. Like for me, I have to rely on Snap Gelly to get around, really. And in the case of one of my new bombs, Gate. But other than that, our climb is slow. Like, we're not going anywhere unless there's a nice hallway I can go sit in, which is where I prefer to fight, or just nice narrow hallways because they can't run. But I guess what I'm trying to get across with this video is I miss Rogue in its older days, and you know, there's a lot of nostalgia for me. I can't necessarily go around and explore Gaia now like I could back then, because back then it was a ton of base class fights and freshie fights. And yeah, they were intense, but it's not like, you know, if you're in the middle of that fight, you're not going to see an Ultra Gank squad come up and just take one side and annihilate the other. Back then, Ultras were really rare, and that's something I miss. I miss the days when everything was fresh and new. And I get that with over time, people are going to learn tricks to do things faster, better, find more money, whatever it might be. But I miss when artifacts were like super rare, and if you had one, you either grinded really hard for it, or you had, you know, saved up a ton of silver to buy one, and you had somehow managed to get that done. Nowadays, I feel like in Gaia, it's just whoever has more artifacts or the most busted build can just pull it off. Not all classes feel useful in their base state, and when I say base state, I mean no tomeless unless you're a mage. In my eyes, mages completed, quote unquote, get base tomeless, but no tomeless if you're not a mage, and then just your class skills, no your class gear and skills, no artifacts, none of that. I feel like back then it was better that way, but I feel like not every class as they are is entirely useful without tomes or without an artifact. Like in Gaia specifically, I feel that one class that is overlooked if you don't have tomeless to keep them in stun locks is Dark Sigil. Because personally, when I played an Ultra Dark Sigil, I found myself it's really hard to just chase people. Like honestly, it was hard to like chase the meta, which at the time was Spider Cloak, D-Sages, Spies, everything that had high climb. I could fight them on land, but the second they got on the side of a cliff and started climbing, I wasn't gonna catch them. I played Shinobi once. I actually had a decently fun time with Shinobi. I didn't really know how to play it, but it was still a nice amount of fun to play. And I think with that, I was definitely able to run and actually catch people a bit better than I could with the Dark Sigil. But for me, my personal favorite classes will always be Deep Knight and Illusionist. Not Uber Illusionist. I don't like Uber Illusionist. I feel like Uber mages in general, they're just kind of boring. But in terms, if I look back in K, I think the best way to put it is that I feel the meta there is so restricted to just a few classes and flood houses, and you can't really do anything about flood houses. You can't balance flood houses. You can't just say, all right, if this server has so many people of one house, the rest can't join. You can't really do that. I mean, sure, I may hate flood houses, but at this point I'm going to make one, because if you can't beat them, join them. I don't necessarily have to flood, because I know that I can play my class to the best of its abilities, but in some cases, like there was a gank a few days ago that I was in. It was pretty fun, and you know, both sides brought a decent amount of people, but then one side, which was the other team, just brought in so many Ubers. And it's not like the Ubers were particularly skilled or anything, it's just they kept spamming certain moves that are hard to get around, and at that point, it was just the sheer numbers that overwhelmed us. And I didn't die, I managed to gate away, but it was just, the numbers themselves were so overwhelming. It was just hard to deal with. Now, I feel like with all of that said, that's really all I can think of in terms of reflecting Rogue overall. I love the game. It will always have a place for me, especially Church Knight, Deep Knight. I loved the lore behind that. It was so awesome to read and learn about all of that. I am extremely excited for Deep Woken from the official leaks that I have seen, official spoilers leaks, call them what you want. The ones that have been sanctioned for everybody to see, not leaks that like testers have leaked or anything. So it seems pretty cool. It seems a lot more in-depth and about exploration rather than just killing people. So I'm very excited to see that part of it. I think there's going to be a lot of versatility to it. I'm excited to see where they can go with it. And I'm super excited to make content on it once I can. This video, by no means am I quitting Rogue. No, not at all. I'm still going to keep playing Rogue, still going to have fun with Abomination, and look for fun people to gank with. That's all I really care about. Just give me a fun fight, and I'll gank with you. That's about it. In terms of uploads, though, before I go, a lot of crazy stuff has been happening in my life that I don't want to go into detail about. I'm just going to keep it that it's been crazy. It's been really hard to deal with, so the uploads might take a little bit longer than I'd want to, just because there's a lot of changes that I've been having to adjust to. So I think with all of that in mind, I think that's about it for this one, guys. As I already mentioned earlier in the video, the 500 subspecial is coming. It just, the files got corrupted for it as I was rendering it, and it's going to take a little bit longer than I wanted to. So I'll let you guys, I'll post updates on my Discord, and I'll post a Discord at the end of this video as well, so you guys can stay updated with that. There's a code for it. You guys can join, talk, we can chat, whatever. I'm pretty open and available. So with that, this is that one deep night, and I'll see you guys later.